Guys, what's going on? Sharp thinking. I have a very special video for you guys today. This is going to be part of the Rewind series, talking about this Sibert design here from Benchmade. Oh man, this thing is cool. So, for those of you guys that were not around in the industry in 2010, 2011, this is a knife from Benchmade, and I was able to secure this one with the box. It's pretty much new in box, and it's amazing. It's crazy. I really don't think this has ever been carried or maintained, taken apart. The G10's all dried out, which will happen if a knife sits for 15 years. Super cool. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the coolest thing Benchmade has made in the past, well, can't say 15 years because they were making the Lum Tonto and all that. But this is cooler than anything Benchmade has made in the past 5 years. I'll stand on that. May not be a better knife, but it is cooler. So fit and finish on this, fantastic. Centering's great. I love the finish, how they rounded this spine here. Everything you can see is just well finished. That groove, incredible. And this is sort of like a grinder satin with a light stonewash on it. If I can demonstrate that to you guys. This has never been sharpened either, so that is the edge that would come on it. Hardware, I'm a big fan of the faceless hardware on the show side. On our lock side, we have about 9 screws here. So pretty busy. Yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do, right? But yeah, it is quite a stunning little chunk of a knife. I'm not going to say the other word. Let's be appropriate, guys. Come on now. It's Sunday. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Very thick, beefy. This clip here, you'll notice it does not touch the scale. That is actually how this knife was designed. It was designed with that gap there. And yeah, that's just how it is. So getting into things, we have a monolock, which is basically just a titanium frame lock. You can see this is more of an old school lock face. It's got the curvature to it. Let me see if I can show you guys that. So this would have been a more common style to see during that era. Old school SNGs and knives like that will have a similar lock face. I couldn't tell you why. It's just something that was more common back then. And you'll see something different about this one. We actually have a ledge here that would keep the lock from going to 100%. As to why you would want to do that, I don't know. Now these, when they came out, people had a lot of complaints about them. One being the lock, the other being the clip. So these clips, I guess, were known for breaking. I would assume around this point where the little jimps are, that would be your thinnest point. And these guys had stick, which, lock stick that is, which was pretty common back then. You would get a lot of knives that, you know, Strider, stuff like that, Emerson, for example, and they would have just crazy stick. And this one seems to be quite good. I don't have any really to speak of, and I haven't had any, although it's not been used or carried, probably in the history of this knife existing. You can see these are the only 2 marks I was able to find on the entire knife, and it is almost 15 years old. So pretty cool. Man, I love the lines of this guy. I wish they continued to make the larger variation of it. I know the Vicar that's a knife that I've done a video on many years ago. I would love to see stuff like that come back. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting about Benchmade, and I've not heard a ton of people talk about it, is on many monolocks, frame locks, or liner locks, they will actually have this adjustable. Let me see if I can get some light in here. It's hard to get light where you want it, you know? Come on now. Ah, there we go. So you can see that little dent in the face of this kind of hexagon, octagon stop pin. That is so that you can tell how you've moved it, which direction, how many notches over, and that will adjust your lockup. So if you wanted it crazy early, you could have it right here, or if you wanted it later, I'm sure you could have it right down there. Pretty cool. Is it kind of gimmicky? I don't know. I've never used it, and I've never actually talked to anybody that's used it. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I wish Benchmade would go back to some of these old school designs. And I do plan on getting some of the other, like the Bob Lum Tonto, Skirmish, all that good stuff, the full titanium knives. Oh, man, it was a time to be alive back then, guys, I'm telling you. Now is pretty cool. Back then, from Benchmade, they were actually well worth the money, I think. Now these guys would have been $250 new. They have an M390 blade, which back then was new. That was a new steel. It was hard to come by, and if you wanted a sample of M390, this was basically one of your cheaper options to obtain it. Now, what was I just talking about? Oh, no. Oh, yes, the blade. So this guy's actually pretty thin behind the edge. I find that a lot of the older Benchmades were pretty thin behind the edge, and as to how thin they are now, I couldn't tell you, because I don't really buy Benchmades anymore. This is sort of the only Benchmade I own, and it's not even a factory blade. It's been rebladed. My 20 CV from them tested at 57 Rockwell, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. I still have the blade, but you know, it's just, I don't use it. So, but yeah, very cool knife, very beautiful. I love the fuller on it. I love this drop point with the swedge. Man. But at one point they produced a gold class variation of this, and it was a dual action knife. So it was an automatic as well as a manual, and it was a full size. I believe it was just called the Pocket Rocket. And this is the mini Pocket Rocket. There at one point was a micro Pocket Rocket, which I think had a 1.9 inch blade. I don't know. I think that the larger this thickness and design is, probably the better. I know that the micro was not near as thick as this guy was, but this guy's a brick. It is, I want to say, almost 3/4 of an inch. Honestly, it might even be more along the lines of an inch, with the clip at least. But beautiful G10, beautiful titanium. I did catch one imperfection in the machining. Let's see if I can get up close there. So this little, see that little little piece there? You can tell they machined this out first, and then they went around and chamfered, because this got kind of marred up there. Yeah, you can see it almost looks like a little tiny needle, basically, like if you've ever worked with sheet metal. But yeah, that's the only imperfection that I've been able to find on the knife. And I'm sure a lot of guys would have missed that. Great sharpening choil, by the way. Actually functional. Not huge. It's fantastic. Whew, I love the finish on these. That's one thing I have to say. I don't know why. I know it's just a grinder machine satin with a stone wash, but I love the finish. Green G10. Look at how thick that is. No liner on that side. And I love this bolster. It's crazy. Crazy beautiful. Everything lines up pretty well. Just giving you guys some close-ups. Look at how well that's finished. Pretty good. This was 15 years ago, so you can see the curvature on the lock face there. It's a little bit more exaggerated up here than it is down here, but you can see from the light. But yeah, guys, this is a quite the sample, and I'm glad I was able to pick one up. It's definitely a lot less like this guy than I thought. This is actually the motivation for me even tracking one of these guys down. But yeah, it's a very cool knife. Man, I mean, I feel like it's so obvious what they could have done to fix this and make it more appealing to the kind of everyman. And I don't mean putting an access lock on it. I mean, thin it out. Cut this bulky stuff out. Keep the blade. Man, the finish on that jimping is so nice. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Would have been cool to see this in titanium too. Which I think the full size actually ended up having a titanium here, similar to how they machined it on the lock side. But yeah, if I can, I'll track one of those down and I'll do a video for you guys. But that's all I got for you guys today. These rewind series are gonna be, you know, a little bit different. I don't carry these knives. I just want to preserve, you know, the legacy of them, which sounds really odd, but it's just, you know, it's not available anymore. You know, there's no point in me prying pallets apart with this thing, you know. Speaking of prying, PB washers in there, you can see them. Got a thinner one so that it doesn't interfere with the lock. Yeah, very nice knife. Very beautiful. Major shout out to the guy that hooked me up with this. And there was actually another fellow that had already bought it. And I said, hey, if you could pass the message along, I do YouTube. I wanted to, you know, make a rewind series video on this. If you let the guy who bought it know, you know, I'd be extremely grateful to have the opportunity to buy it off of him at full price. Please pass that message along. He passed the message along and he said, hey, I would love for that guy to have it. I would love for that guy to make a YouTube video about it. And he said, I will gladly let you do that. And here we are today. So I ended up buying it, and now I'm gonna track that guy down, you know, probably move it on to him and throw a bunch of swag in the package with it, if he does want it. I've not been able to get a hold of him because of Facebook, the messaging thing, you know, it's hard to see messages sometimes. But yeah, cool story on how I got it. Cool knife, great designer. It's I love this thing. But you know, in order to keep the rewind series going, we got to move on. So I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to check that guy out. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.